Hi, it's 5 AM on Thursday the 28th of June, and it's my birthday, 49 again. So as you can see, I'm still keeping up with my pledge to get up at 5 AM, enjoy the best part of the day. It's really good actually, because right now it's about 65 degrees and it's going to be another 100-degree day today, so forecast goes, so it's well worth it. Right now you can hear the sounds of the morning. Birds and wind chimes basically, and that's it. You know, you got the place to yourself this time of day. There we are, Main Street, Tombstone. Nothing. Going around the other way. Nothing. So it's good. Best time of day. I quite enjoy getting up like this. I have to set my alarm. It's not automatic, but by and large it works out. Well, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock at night, you know, completely time shifted, but it works for me. Anyway, talk to you later. All right, it's a little after 6 AM and it's a really nice wind blowing today right now. It's really nice and cool. Though I just looked at the weather forecast and it's going to be a tad below 100, 98 degrees, something like that, you know, in mid-afternoon. Just going for my walk. Today's going to be a drinking day because it's my birthday, but not surrendering the core values. Going to do my basic 3 miles. And we can see that I'm still have the town to myself. And it's really good, so let's go for it. Okay, so walking through the park out onto the street, lap 1. What I basically do here every day, my minimum is 2 1.5 mile laps, 3 miles in total. My walking speed takes me an hour, and that's the minimum. So walking out onto Fremont Street right now. Sun's up, start to feel the heat in it. It's a lovely quiet morning this morning. You know, it's only about 6 AM, but this is how to have the place to yourself. So we start. So we're coming up to the first corner, and on the other side of the road here, you might be able to see with the statue in the background, we have Wyatt Earp's house. Well, of course it's not the real house, he didn't have air conditioning and whatever, but this is evidently where his house stood. All the Earp brothers, they bought houses in this lot round here, and this is reputedly where Wyatt lived. You can see they've got his statue in the front yard there. And if we walk down here towards First Street, where we do a left, basically it's a square route, we have this little house here, which is currently for sale, but it's a historic house. This old house, purchased by Pete Spence, and Pete Spence was with the the cowboy element, and so it says he's believed to have killed Morgan Earp. So he was supposedly the one that shot him in the back, Campbell and Hatches. Also accused, no, I didn't know that, shooting of Virgil Earp. Well, there you go. This is where he lived. And they're selling it. And this little motel here, it's called Virgil's Corner. Now, I don't know whether this is where Virgil Earp's house was, but like I said, it's right opposite. There's Wyatt's house. It's right opposite, so we don't know. Anyway, you know, we carry on down here. This is First Street. So I'm going to go down here and walk up to 10th Street and then complete one lap like that. That comes out to 1.5 miles. And if you look here, the people here bought this little old shack and they're spending a lot of money refurbishing it and adding on to it. And like I said, it's just after 6 o'clock in the morning, but it gets so brutally hot here during the day that people come and do their daily work early. So onward. Okay, so still on First Street, about to turn left onto Toughnut Street, and there's a historic house here. This is where Texas John Slaughter used to live. 1882, yeah. Well, the Earps were still here then. Morgan was shot in 1882. Gunfight at the OK Corral happened October 26, 1881. So you can look him up. He was a famous figure in the Old West at the time. And this house over here, I think this is Doctor's house or something. Built in 1880, so the sign says. Dr. Goodfellow, medical doctor and surgeon. Oh yeah, the trolley tours and the stagecoach tours always mention this house as they go past. Now this is Toughnut Street, and believe it or not, it isn't the case now, but a lot of the bars and the raucous nightlife and whatever in the heyday used to happen on Toughnut. There was a lot of shootouts on this street. Everyone thinks Allen Street is the main street, and that's probably where the better, classier hotels were, but a lot of the real nightlife happened on Toughnut Street here. And now Tombstone Brewery. I wish I could drink beer now, but unfortunately I can't, so my waistline is better off and my gout is better off, but with maybe one exception of the year when they have their Oktoberfest do have a big party out here. Hopefully they do it this year. Guest beers and musicians and that. I don't go in there because beer makes me too sick now. Anyway, here we have City Hall, dated 1882. There's a good museum in here, and this place has got notoriety. There are jail cells in here. You can still see the remains of all of those, but there was a very famous lynching happened in that yard there. Can't remember the actual details of the guy that was lynched, but it took him an hour or so to die hanging at the end of the rope, and people took the law into their own hands. But it's a nice building, City Hall, well worth a visit if you're ever in town. It's a good museum. This house was built in 1900 or so, built as lawyers' offices, and So it's a bit late to have any real, historical significance, but old is old. It's an old adobe house. Interesting. View of the courthouse. Really nice. Really nice. Pan around here. This is another historic house, built around about 1882 by a man called English, although he wasn't English. But he started off as a miner and ended up as a big heavy-hitting lawyer around here. He led a very expansive lifestyle, was a heavy drinker, and evidently had to postpone court hearings from time to time because he had too big a hangover. Anyway, onward. Nothing really historic about these houses, but they look nice. I love the plants outside. This is my favourite little bit of Tombstone in the holiday season, because in the holiday season, which is, Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas, all these houses here have really nice fairy lights and whatever. You would have seen this house here. You would have seen previous posts of this. It looks really great at night. During the daytime, it's just a load of old toilets, full of shit, but at night it's lit up really nice, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Knock on wood before I go back to Asia in November, lit up for Halloween. Anyway, onwards. This is Old Tombstone, down at the end of, what is it, 5th? Gunfighter Hall of Fame. That's well worth going in. And this is where the old railroad station used to be. Railroad didn't come to Tombstone until 1902. Before then, all their luxury foods and goods had to be wagoned in from Fairbank, which was the railhead. But when the railroad first came here, this was the station, and it lasted until the early 60s. What a shame, they ripped it out. But they have gunfight reenactments down there, and there's one trolley tour there which hasn't really taken off. This is the main trolley tour business in town. The kiss of death on this one here is they had English John barking for them. Anything that he gets involved in around here is usually a disaster, so I'm told. But this guy spent a fortune on this trolley and the little office there and whatever. He had an argument with his driver who left, and it's never run since. I noticed the bus is there, so maybe he's planning to run it this weekend. This coming weekend is going to be a holiday weekend here, so we'll see. This is Silver Mine tour. Never been down there. Heard it's good on a hot day. It's 20 degrees, 30 degrees cooler than it is on the surface. So yeah, this is 5th. Sorry, the other one was 4th. This is 5th. You can see the food's arriving for some of the restaurants here. I'm told this is quite a good sort of Mexican-Italian restaurant. Can you believe that fusion? Never been in there. Never will. There's the back end of the Longhorn. When I first came to Tombstone, this site here was a really good gunfight site. They had shows. It subsequently went broke. The Old West gunfight shows daily. They'll probably resurrect it for this weekend for something. This is the old fire engine fire station. Now I believe it's for the seniors. So gets good use. Now we're coming up to 6th, and the walk has been uphill this way, and now we're losing all that ground again, coming downhill. It's very, very hilly around here, but it's a good workout. And this is where the stagecoach horses piss every day, so it always stinks around here. And we're heading up towards Allen Street, which is the main street of Tombstone. Like I said, it's where all the posher hotels and bars and nefarious places used to be. This is the Birdcage Theatre, which is the most famous place in Tombstone, one would think. Been featured on many haunted show on Discovery Channel. That should tell you how authentic it is. Anything that's on Discovery Channel, the History Channel, I take with an extreme grain of salt, although I would like to spend the night in there. I doubt very much if I'd see anything. But this is the steepest bit of the climb, and this is Allen Street. Hey, this is a bit like my Thanksgiving morning presentation. It's just as deserted. Look at that. Look at that. Completely deserted Allen Street, Birdcage Theatre. Down there. It won't be deserted this weekend, that's for sure. Got loads of movie stars coming from the Tombstone movie. So we're gonna walk up there. So nothing much interest in here, you might say, but maybe there is, because this is a well, and it must be a very good well, because all of the big water trucks fill up here. And what you might not know is below our feet here is a honeycomb of abandoned mines, all of which flooded. So there's millions of gallons of water underneath our feet here in these flooded mines. They used to have, back in the late 1800s, they brought in big Cornish pumping engines to help keep the mines dry once they punched through into the water table. Eventually they couldn't keep up with it, and so the mines flooded and had to be abandoned. End of silver mining in Tombstone. End of Tombstone, in fact. So we're not short of water around here, which is pretty good considering we're out in the desert. Now here is a failed business enterprise. At some point before I ever came to town, long time before I ever came to town, this parade of buildings was obviously put up here as a bit of an old western set, so they must have wanted to do some kind of commercial reenactment here or whatever, and it's been for sale ever since I've been in town. Before that, probably no one seems interested in buying it, but I don't know if it's zoned for living, but someone was reasonably wealthy. It might be worthwhile buying all of this and keeping the facade and making a really nice house out of it. I don't know. So here we are, 10th Street. There's Allen Street there, Tombstone main drag all the way down there. So we're going to turn left here, get back onto Fairmont. Crazy Annie's saloon, been for sale for a year or so. No buyers. Never been in there. I will go in there once before I leave, just to say I've done it. I believe they only sell beer, maybe wine in there. They don't sell whiskey or anything like that. It's no big deal to me. This is the depot. There are two really good restaurants in town. this one at the Longhorn. It's a good restaurant in there, and it's a bit out of the way. And this is, I very rarely go in there, but this is Johnny Ringo's saloon, and it's part of the depot, so it's attached inside, but it's a really nice bar in there. Very nice. I did a post on steampunk cactuses recently, and this is the house where they live. Cactuses made out of tin pipe or whatever. How cool is that? So we're heading down towards Fremont Street. Here we are. Fremont Street. This is the home straight. Back down there is where we started. The first lap is almost complete. This is Shetland Hall. When it was built in 1881, this was the biggest and best theatre between Texas and San Francisco. And it still is a really good theatre in there. Personally, I think that a lot of the activity that you see associated with the birdcage, you know, the Earps and like-minded people with their wives and girlfriends enjoying the pinafore troops and God knows what else, I think it actually happened in here, not in the birdcage theatre. Hollywood doesn't know anything about this place, so no one knows it. Sorry, the road is now livening up. It's getting closer to 7 AM, so traffic's building up. So anyway, we carry on. We're about to cross 4th Street. I'm walking down here past a place called the Bella Union. It's not historic per se, but it was a really, really good restaurant and dance hall and bar and meeting place, but it closed and it's never reopened. People have wanted to buy it, but the person that owns it wants a ridiculous price for it. So it sits here disused and deserted, closed. Like so much of Tombstone, screwed up. Absolutely screwed up. Now this is 4th Street. We're back onto history now. Down this road here and round this corner here and into history. This is where the Earps walked on their way to their confrontation with the Clantons and McClarys at the OK Corral. They walked down here. They met up with Doc Holliday round about here somewhere, I believe. Doc was staying locally round on this street. That's where they met up. Over there on that site used to be a parade of buildings that contained law offices, and I believe Virgil Earp's office was in this parade of buildings, which was since demolished. It's now a car park. What a shame. This is the town hall. I think it was built in 1882 after, you know, the gunfight at the OK Corral. City Hall, sorry. Recently been renovated. Tucked round the back here is the Marshal's office. And what you will not know, unless you're a resident, is that you see the sign there that says OK Corral. Well, that was the site of the gunfight at the OK Corral, but the OK Corral isn't there. The OK Corral used to be in here. It went all the way through that wall up there, and it comes out as a pair of gates on Allen Street. This is where the OK Corral used to be. So if you walk down here a little bit, you'll see a reconstruction of Fly's photography studio, and this is the site of the gunfight at the OK Corral, which again is an invention of Hollywood, because this was a vacant lot on Fremont Street, and this is where the Earps walked in to confront the Clantons and the McClowrys in there, and 3 of the guys died on the street just out here. So really it was known straight after the battle as the gunfight on Fremont Street, or the Fremont Street gunfight, but it should really be called gunfight in the vacant lot on Fremont Street next to the OK Corral, which is there. Anyway, history lesson over. About to start on lap 2. Alright, so this is full circle, back where we started. So lap 2. You don't need to see this because it's going to be the same as lap 1, I should think. Hi, so happy birthday. I'm here in Applebee's. I'm going to treat myself to a couple of gin and tonics. Then I'm going to go back to Tombstone and go into Cape to see my friend Linda. Hi Linda. Sorry about that, dear. So bought my food for tonight, and let's hope I can eat it all. My stomach's a bit smaller than it used to be, capacity wise anyway. Still look as though I got a fat belly, but capacity wise it don't take much to fill it up anymore. I can only assume it's just a long-term thing, you know, just gradually cut back and back and back, which is what I'm doing. So anyway, here we are, Applebee's, Sierra Vista. Brutally hot outside. It'll ramp up to at least 95 this afternoon. May even get to 100, I don't know. We'll wait and see. Report back later. Happy birthday. There is some, I won't say justice, but there is some goodwill in the world here. So it's my birthday, and I'm now watching the second half of England versus Belgium on the TV in a bar in Sierra Vista, Arizona. I must be the only football supporter within 100 miles of here, I should think. That's our kind of football. I always thought the Americans. But it's 0-0, and it doesn't really matter if we lose or not. So I'm going to stay here and watch the second half. Wing wild. See you later. Happy birthday, Graham.